Hello everyone and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Colin and today we are going to set up Atlantis Rising, 2nd edition. So I am going to jump back here. Hopefully I can do this with my video. I'm going to jump back to when I did a playthrough of Atlantis Rising many moons ago. aka I think it was only about a year and a half ago. But that was the 1st edition. You see what it looks like? Yeah, I mean it looks fine. It's still a great game. It's published by Z-Man Games. But Elf Creek Games came and decided to do a 2nd edition of the game, and this is what we have. Now, I do have the Kickstarter edition, so I do have the blinged up components. If you get the retail edition, I don't know if everything's going to be like that, but I also did get the mat, I should say. Man, I would highly recommend it if you can. It really brings in the ambiance for this game. Now, what we're going to do here today is we're going to set up the game, and then we'll go ahead and jump into a playthrough. But before I do that, I want to mention that Watch It Played has a phenomenal instructional video. If you're looking to just understand how to play and then jump in yourself, I'd recommend checking that out. I'll actually put it in the description below. That will help you understand the rules, jump into it. But if you want to see what the game is like and actually see how it plays, hang out here because I'll show you how the game actually plays. Without further ado, let's set up this beauty. The first step in setting up the game is to place the board on the table. Now, unlike most games, that actually takes a bit of time, and that's because these are all pieces that will flip over like so. Because what's going to be happening during the game is this island's going to be sinking, and what we're going to try and do is complete creating a machine that's going to get us off this island before it collapses or sinks into the water. So it's basically a puzzle piece board. So you'll have to put all the puzzle pieces together and set them up like so. You'll then want to grab your mystic barriers. Now they have stands for them, but I don't use them because it really it hurts the cardboard. What I do when I put them out is I just simply lay them flat like this. I find that works really well. People can see them, but you certainly can put them on the standees if you'd like. We also have all the different resources here. So we've got our mystic energy, we have our crystals, our gold, we have our ore, and then we have our Atlantium that is used by converting ore into Atlantium. We also have our nice chunky dice over here, and that will be how you set up this portion of the board. What you want to do next is go ahead and choose your specific characters you want to play. I'm going to be playing a 4-player game, so I have the Artificer, the Scholar, the Champion, and the Explorer. Each character will be double-sided. One will be a male side, and one will be the female side. There is no difference to the sides, just whatever your preference is. You can either choose randomly or decide to choose yourselves which characters you're going to play. I chose these ones because I like them. Each character will have a special ability. Now that's very similar to the 1st edition, but here's the catch. The 1st edition, all of your characters had that ability. Now, though, only your leader Meeple will have the special ability. For example, the Explorer here. It says when your leader is on a tile in a wild peninsula, and wild peninsulas are the locations that you can roll dice to gain resources, the target number for that specific tile is reduced by 1. So normally, let's say if I put him on a spot to obtain gold, I have to roll a 5 or higher. If his leader is there, any other workers that are there with his leader can roll a 4 to succeed instead of a 5. What you'll want to do is you'll want to grab a leader of any color that you'd like. They have these tokens that you'll leave on your board to remind yourself, oh yeah, I'm the blue character. You're then going to take 2 of your regular workers, and you're going to start with 2. The other 2 are going to go on to what's called the Wrath of God board, and I'll show you that at the end, and you can recruit them through the game and gain more workers if you'd like. Our next player is the Champion. Our Champion has the ability that when a tile your leader is on floods, all Atlanteans on that tile may immediately take the action for that tile before returning to their counselor's pool. So normally, if you're on a tile that floods, and that happens before you've done your activation, you lose doing those activations with those workers. But with the Champion, that doesn't happen, which is really nice. So you can be more risky and go farther out on the island and place workers there, knowing that they'll still be able to do their action even if that specific tile floods. Our next character is the Scholar. During setup, before selecting artifacts for the library deck, randomly select one of the artifacts containing the Scholar icon. That's this little symbol here. You'll see that on the cards when I randomly choose one. Set that card aside and give it to the Scholar for use. During play, each Atlantean in the same peninsula as your leader, including the leader, may all benefit from this artifact. And that looks like it's an actual peninsula benefit, which is really cool. So that's the whole peninsula instead of just the tile. So I'm going to shuffle these up and randomly choose one. Let's see, why don't we grab this one? And it states, so her ability will be your mystic energy increases the die's value by 2 instead of 1. Ooh. So we actually start with that in play, which is really nice. Here we have the Artificer. I love this ability. So when you place your Atlanteans, you may place your leader on an empty placement spot on an unbuilt component. So unlike the first edition, you can actually place workers on the components that you build, which is super cool. I really like that. So as you're building the different parts of this machine, you're going to actually be able to use them by placing workers there. For this round only, that component is available for use by your leader and others, though following the usual placement restrictions. So sometimes, and you're going to see, there's a lot of spaces that will say 5+. If you're not playing with 5 or more players, you can't use that space. That's what that's stating. What's really great about this is we basically get to use the benefit of components we haven't even built yet. And if it has multiple spaces we can put people, we can even allow other players to get that benefit. I also wanted to show you quick the Wrath of God board, because this is where we have our extra meeples. They're essentially in the city. You can see them here, and we can try and recruit them to help us instead of them running around being scared. This is replacing the Athenians that were attacking the Atlanteans, if you remember that from the first edition. So instead of having these Athenians randomly attacking you as your island's sinking, which didn't really make a lot of thematic sense, this is the Wrath of the Gods. The whole theme of this game right now is that the gods are upset at us because we are starting to use technology over worshiping them. So that's why they're sinking our island. So then we are using technology to escape the island. It's kind of cool. And so as the game progresses, the gods get more and more mad, and these numbers tell us at the end of the round how many additional tiles we have to flip on the island over to the flooded side. And so yeah, if we dally too long, all of a sudden three additional tiles will be flipped around, and yeah, that's hard to mitigate. From how I understand it, there's no way you can stop this. You know, with those Athenians, you could just send more people there to fight them, and they wouldn't really affect the island, but you also had people kind of doing nothing. Well, this way you are really being forced to try and get your components built fast, because the gods are going to make you lose. And I should also mention these gray workers. Sometimes you can get gray Atlanteans for one round. So these are our one-time use Atlanteans. So you've met our 4 characters. Our next step will be to set up the library deck. This library deck has lots of really cool ability cards that we can use. But we also have artifacts. Now we start with 1 thanks to the scholar. We still get to, out of the remaining of these, take 4 randomly and put them into this library deck. So I'll do that off camera, but we randomly choose them, so I will not know which ones we have that will be placed into the library deck. Our next step will be setting up the misfortune deck itself. This deck is what causes our island to start sinking, along with the Wrath of Gods. Now, if you read the rule book, they'll tell you what to do for that first time that you play, but since I've played this many times, I'm going to go ahead and do level 4 out of level 5, and so this tells us that we need to place 3 calm seas into the deck and 9 controlled floods into the misfortune deck. It'll also tell us, and you'll see this in a second, what types of the components that we need to have, A, B, C, or D. So we'll be using A, C's, and D's. And then it'll also tell us how much mystic energy we start with. We'll be starting with 1 per player. But yeah, if you want a harder game, you go farther to the right. If you want an easier game, you go farther to the left. Here we have the cards that make up our misfortune deck. So here are the 3 calm seas. When we flip those, nothing happens. They're wonderful. Controlled floods, we actually have to flip 2 tiles. And then the rest of these cards are just going to be, the hills. So then we have to flip 1 of the tiles in the hills. You just need to make sure that this deck has the Spur the Cycle card, because that refreshes the deck so you don't ever run out of cards. Also, with the Kickstarter edition, there's a ton of different event cards. I'm not going to put them in there for the playthrough, but you certainly can add them. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these up so we're ready to rock. Here we have the components for the machine that's going to get us off this island. Now you can see the letters A, C, and D. So the A ones are going to be a lot easier to build. Look, only need 3 different resources. The D ones, we need tons of resources. Also, you're going to see that there are places to put workers on your C and D components. That's all the C's and D components. You can place workers there and activate the abilities. The A ones are usually just a one-time ability and you're done. Now, there also is the power core. Now, they had that in the first edition, but what's different here is that all leaders have to contribute to the power core, and you have to build it last. And I think that's so thematic, and I really like how they did that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly choose. I think there's 5 in here. 4? I can't remember. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 5. I'm going to choose 3 randomly out of the 5 and place them out, and that's what we're going to have to build. So we're going to have to build 9 of these and then the power core. Here you can see our 9 components and our power core. I'm not going to go through all of them right now. You'll see them during the playthrough. Just know that there's 3 of each letter type. Of all the upgrades they did to this game, I think this is my favorite part. This is the cosmic board. So with the first edition, what you would do is when you'd build a component, you just would put it in front of you and say, okay, it's built. Great, woohoo, and you could build 1 per round. Each player could. Now, though, what can happen is you have to place a worker on the cosmic board. But unlike with the first edition, you could only build a component if you personally had all the required resources. We can build together, but if we do that, we both have to place a worker in one of these spots. So you can see that we have to place a worker here and a worker here. This one we're not going to be able to use because we're not playing 5+. So the most amount of components around that we're going to be able to build are 2. Now once you build that component, you're going to take it and then it goes like this into the board. Oh, that's cool. If you can finish the board and then you put the power core here, it looks complete and you are off the island. It's also really great because you'll know to look here if we have any of these components where you need to place workers. You can go, oh yeah, I can place a worker here to activate this. So you'll place a worker there and you can see it and it's all in one spot. This cosmic board, phenomenal. We do have a first player token because you can play where you each individually place your workers out on the board. I definitely don't need this, especially when playing solo with 4 characters. So I will not be moving the first player marker, but just know that you can use it. It can help with disputes, stuff like that, if you're ever having a problem when you're playing this cooperatively versus solo like I am. One more item that I forgot. Since I'm playing at level 4, not level 5, each character gets 1 mystic energy. And yeah, mystic energy, the biggest thing that it's used for is if I roll a die and I'm trying to get, let's say, gold, and I roll a 4, I can use it to add +1 to my roll. You can use multiples. Also, and you'll see it on the character boards, there's different abilities you can do with them, which I'll show you while we go through the playthrough. I am super stoked to show this to you guys. I think the game, they took a pretty good game and changed it into a very good game with a beautiful production. Some of the best art that I've seen. I love how it looks. This mat just makes it pop on the table. Yeah, and these components. Oh, anyways, okay. I know I'm gushing. I bought this on Kickstarter. I backed it. I was excited about it, and I am definitely feeling it. I've already played it at least 4 different times with family, and everybody has loved it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the playthrough. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in that playthrough.